Hello, Lamer Gamers. This is Simply Travis and
Rowdy 5000.
And we recently become of age after 35 or so years. It's kind of weird. And had our destiny revealed. We're now going to go visit the King of Dundrasil. Dundrasil kind of sounds like a foot fungus thing. But
It definitely sounds like something you would find under something, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
to tell him that we have this super sweet necklace and we're something called a luminary. On our way, we were attacked by viciously viscous slimes, some cucumbers of pain, and worst of all, a bird.
A bird? What?
Yeah, no, it was really just a bird. I don't know why that was the main bad guy.
Side note, Cucumbers of Pain, next band name.
Once we got there, the king didn't seem to like us all that much and decided to put us in a steel cage. But good news! We've now escaped, but bad news, we're running away from all the king's horses and all the king's men, but really, we're all running away from a giant fire-breathing dragon. And only one way out, and that is to jump off a cliff into a waterfall that leads deep down to the dark, murky depths of episode 11 of the Lamer Gamers podcast.
I guess it wouldn't be a Dragon Quest game if you didn't run from a dragon.
Very true. You know, I mean, this one just slaps it right at you right at the beginning.
Hey, wait, when did they change it from Dragon Warriors to Dragon Quest? And did they start renumbering them at the time?
That is a good question that I used to know, and I did not research before the show.
Oh, okay.
Hey, there's a warp pipe. Distractions from... All right, anyway, distractions. Today we're going to talk about the games we've been playing, such as Fire Emblem, Dragon Quest demo on the Switch. Then we'll jump into news and views, including updates from Gamescom, Mortal Kombat 11 DLC, the FF8 Remaster, and much, much more. Then we're going to jump into our rumors section we like to call fake news to discuss recent patent leaks all over the place, like from everyone. Like they need a plumber for all these leaks.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's terrible.
It stinks.
All right, time to hit that fancy transition music.
Yeah, music right here.
All right, so... First things up, Fire Emblem. Rowdy, how much have you played this game?
It's the only game I've played for about a month and a half, maybe. It's nonstop, man. I'm almost 90 hours into this game. My first playthrough was 58 hours, and I started a second playthrough for a different house on a new game plus, and I'm almost at 90 hours combined. It is a lot of Fire Emblem.
So I have a big question for you.
What's that?
Do you like the game?
Yeah. Sweet. Yeah. I'd say it's
that's it for the segment. No, I'm sorry. So what do you actually like about this? I mean, because I'm 30 or 40 hours into it. My wife thinks I'm probably about 80 hours into it because it feels like it to her.
Look, how can I explain it? It's super fun to play. Like, the last Fire Emblem game I actually played was Fire Emblem Awakening on the 3DS. And they've had a few since then. I want to say they've had a remake and then a new one. And I never really had the time to play them on the 3DS. But now on the Switch, you know, I could take it with me. I could play it at home on a big screen. Love it. But I guess just the RPG aspects of the game, I really like the direction that it went this time. Like, I really thought that it was going to be a bad idea to be a teacher and you taught your students and they were your warriors on the battlefield. But it makes sense the way it was implemented. The story's really good. A lot of your side stories, not so much.
So, side quest thought process. You remember, speaking of bringing students onto the battlefield, you remember in high school there was a teacher that did Amped Guard?
Was there?
Yeah, there was a teacher. They'd go out with, like, pool noodles, and then they'd go onto the football field and battle each other, like,
Nerds.
as part of a history thing. I thought it was pretty cool. I wanted that class so bad.
But needless to say, this game is in the running for Game of the Year for me. Just because I'm 90 hours into the game, and I still feel like I have another 40 more to go. And they still haven't released any of the DLC.
So, I'm really enjoying the game myself. I especially like the paralogs. Like, I like the actual well-written side quests that are going on to it. Because, how I am. I'm squirrely. But I'm still getting driven a little bit crazy by the voices in the game. And their side quests. And I realize, I know, how many playable characters are in this game? There's
33.
Okay, so if you have to write a little side story or support story for every single character, there's a lot of math involved there that I should have done before the show, and I'm not going to do now because it's going to take until the end of the show for me to finish that because I'm an art teacher.
Numbers bad.
Numbers bad. I used to do math. Anyway, but that's a whole lot of writing you'd have to do, so I can understand why some of it's terrible and makes it hurt my ears.
Well,
but some of it's getting better. Like the higher you get up on support, it's not just like, I love to eat.
If you look at some of the characters' support levels, because you can see that some characters have a higher support level than other ones.
Yeah.
Like some characters, you can only get them to like a C or a B support level, which is I think it's a C through S rating.
Right.
So C, B, A, S. Some characters you can only get to like a C or B, so their storylines aren't all that cool. Characters where the storyline can go up to an A or an S, they actually put more thought into them.
Oh, definitely.
But the voices can get annoying. Some of the characters are a little ridiculous. Like I cannot stand Hubert from the Black Eagles.
What does Hubert do? Like, is he an archer? Is he?
He's a magic user. He is. So each of the main
Black
characters,
Eagles, that makes sense. They're all magic users.
Not all of them.
Oh well, most.
Basically, each from my first playthrough as the Blue Lions to my next playthrough as the Black Eagles, each house literally has the same characters reskinned, damn near.
Pretty close.
Because like you were talking about how your favorite character is Raphael.
Oh yeah, Raphael is a horse punching good time. Like that dude.
I'm not gonna say what that sounds like.
Anyway, so he is. Every time I get attacked by like 4 or 5 cavalry people, like I'll have him run out in the middle of the field, and now I've got him to the part to where he's. I don't know what type of wrestler he is. Like he's got horns on his shoulders and stuff.
Do you have him as the grappler?
Sure.
Does he do more punches?
Grappler.
More punches than Axe
He does
throws?
some weird spinny punch that.
Grappler.
Yeah, he's a grappler. Okay. But I can run him into the middle of a field, and then everybody will come after him, and he'll be just like, whap, take that horse.
Yeah.
And to the cavalry members, like, it doesn't matter if they have a spear, I will punch your horse.
So in the Black Eagles, they have the exact same character, only his name is Caspar. And instead of being, I don't know.
I've seen Caspar. He's skinny, though.
Well, Raphael is like 7 feet tall, 350 pounds, pure muscle. And
Beefcake.
Caspar is like 4'10", 110 pounds soaking wet, but he's still their tank.
And wow, okay,
like
that's cool.
Literally, like I did pretty much the same thing. I set him out in the middle of the field. I wasn't paying attention. I was just playing real fast, and I put him out in the middle of the field and didn't notice a whole bunch of people on horses that were hiding. So in the next round, they all came running up to him. Now I have him set as a War Master, which he specializes in
axes too, right?
Axes as well as the gauntlets. And I had the axes equipped because I was sending him after a lot of the armored characters, only to get jumped by all these dudes on horses, only for their horses to get axed. He was axing their horses.
What was he axing them?
He was axing them to die.
Oh, gosh, we did that joke. We really did it. All right. You had another character, though, that you really liked that's a different type of tank, right?
Yeah, so when I was playing through the Blue Lions, there's a character, Annette. She's another character who's really small, shrimpy, but she's really good at reason magic or black magic in the game. And I started to look at the different classes and noticed there was a class called Mortal Savant where you specialize in swords and black magic or reason in the game. And I decided early on in the game to start training her in sword as well. Most people I've seen train her in reason and faith, which is black and white magic, and try to make her master class would be a grimoire. But when I trained her as a Mortal Savant, she could use a sword or black magic, and then I gave her the Levin sword, which is an elemental sword that has
Shoots lightning bolts.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she was basically an unstoppable magic sword tank.
That sounds amazing.
New band
A
name.
Grimoire kind of sounds like a Pokemon, too.
So yeah, I mean, so there's all kind of like master classes and stuff, and it's really hard to get your characters into those master classes because some of them they have to specialize in 3 different ranks.
Mm-hmm.
So like I've had some characters that were a Dark Knight, not Batman, but they specialized in lance,
I am the knight.
riding, and dark magic. So they could roll around on a horse, shoot you with dark magic, or stab you with a lance. It's pretty ridiculous once you get people in these master classes.
Yeah, I'm getting to where like I'm in the advanced classes, and I think I'm looking at master classes next.
Master classes, okay. So it's really cool to have a lot of people in the master classes, but a lot of them are horses.
That is true. There are horses everywhere.
Yeah, there's like 4. I think there's 4 different horse classes, and then depending on male or female, it's a wyvern class or a Pegasus class.
Whenever because you can dismount from your horse.
Yes.
Right? Does it affect your stats when you dismount, or does it just make it you don't run as far?
It affects how you move over terrain. So if you have a character who's really strong and you really like using them, but you've only ever trained them in mounted classes, so that they don't take any kind of debuff by changing them back to another class. In the match, you can dismount. You could have them unmount the horse. So anytime you go through stairs, rocky areas, wooded areas, it's always going to slow down a mounted character that's not flying. So any horse character. So what you could do is you can use the horse to take big strides, and then once you make it to a rocky area, dismount so that you can go farther over them. So the horse doesn't. The horse isn't impeded.
So, in my head, though, because this sounds like it makes no sense in a way, because you think you dismount, but you go further. Where is your horse?
Never mind.
Are you like carrying it on your shoulders?
You throw it over your shoulders like you're carrying a wounded calf.
Yeah, I'm carrying an 800-pound horse.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But like at first I was like, why would they do that? But then I thought about it, and I don't think I could climb a mountain on a horse. So that's why they have you unmount them.
But you're pretty much climbing a mountain with a horse on you.
No.
Because you can dismount at the top of the...
No.
Yep. That's...
No.
You're like it's over your shoulder and you're just carrying it.
No, Travis, you don't know what you're talking about.
You got like a little knapsack, and your horse is in your bag, in your backpack, and its head's sticking out. And his name is Mr. Ed.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, that's how it works.
He loves peanut butter.
He does.
But basically, I played this game nonstop. It's been all I think about. I wake up in the middle of the night screaming because of this game.
Do you?
Wow. No, not really, but
okay, I was gonna say,
almost.
that's impressive.
It's close to that.
All right, so
it's close to Game of the Year for me.
So coming up soon, we are going to have a side quest where we talk about spoilers.
It's going to be a complete spoiler cast.
Fire Emblem House of Spoilers.
Travis is playing through the Golden Deer storyline.
Very slowly.
He will ruin all of that for you. I've already played the Blue Lions, and I started the Black Eagles, and so that I didn't miss anything, I actually started trying to look on the internet, not let things get spoiled for me, but found out that the Black Eagles have a second storyline.
Do the other ones have two storylines?
No.
Like, am I going to have to go replay the deer?
The Blue Lions, the Golden Deer, only have a part 1 and a part 2.
Okay.
Whereas the Black Eagles, they have a part 1, and then at part 2, it can split to 2 different stories.
Fancy.
So I have a save file that I saved right before the split.
So overall, since you've gone for both sides, which one are you enjoying more, like the storyline?
I really liked the Blue Lions story the most so far, but since I've gotten to part 2 of the Black Eagles, so there's huge twists in the story, but I think that the Black Eagles twist is more I don't know, more in depth. Like it does a whole lot more.
Well, I guess it makes sense if you can split.
Yeah, you can split two ways. So I'm not going to ruin it. I'm going to save that for the actual.
We'll ruin it later.
Spoiler cast, but I'm really liking the Black Eagles storyline now since I've made it to part 2. So we'll have to see.
So, are you actually... I have this feeling that you're going to do this. Are you going to go back and play Golden Deer?
Maybe, but it's not going to be something that...
You have to do.
That I have to do.
Golden Deer is good, though, man. I'm enjoying them. Like I said, the reason why I picked Golden Deer out of all of them is because I didn't want the, deal with all the royals. You know?
They still got royals,
Oh,
man.
yeah. There's one dude that won't shut the heck up about, I'm a noble and I'm hitting on everybody because I should.
Lorenz.
Yeah,
you should wait. You should wait for his storyline. It gets crazy.
Oh, I bet it does. Because you can kind of already... And I got to say, though, Lorenz is like a really good cavalier.
So I recruited 4 members on this new playthrough. I recruited 4 members of the Blue Lions and 4 members of the Golden Deer to play with the Black Eagles. So I get their storylines as well and their paralogs. And just wait. See what happens with Lorenz.
Will do. All right, next game, Dragon Quest. That's fun.
I haven't played much of this.
I played 3 or so hours last night on the demo.
Wait, it's just a demo. There's 3 hours in the demo?
No. I didn't finish the demo. The demo's like 10 hours long, dude.
That's not a demo.
I know. It's like there are games that I bought.
That's an episode.
That's a good way to think about it. And I've really enjoyed it. So I have some truth to tell. I haven't played anything in this series since I was about 5 or 6.
I haven't played anything in this series since it was Dragon Warriors.
Yeah, I mean, at first, old Nintendo gamer, haven't played anything. They haven't really released anything for Nintendo since the
I think it was all like GBA and DS and stuff like that. Like, there was never any main ones.
I mean, there was on NES. That's where I started.
Yeah, but they moved all the main series to PlayStations. I don't think anything moved on to Microsoft, but
it was only in Japan, and then they put it in Witness Protection Program and changed the name. It was Dragon Warrior, now it's Dragon Quest. I don't understand. And I think there's some numbers that have been changed around, so I don't know who they're hiding from, but hopefully it's safe. Anyway, really cool though. Overall, there was some interesting nostalgia from even whenever I was a kid. I remember the noise from going into a cave or a dungeon or downstairs. Mm-hmm. And it's the... And I was kind of... It's the first week of school we just finished up, and I'm really dumb on Fridays. I've just wasted my mental faculties. Not wasted, I've just burned through them
he's teaching, he's not a student.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so kind of like firework, So by Friday it's exploded and it's just falling everywhere onto the ground, and I can't brain. So yesterday, whenever I heard that noise, I about lost it. It's yes! And the music is really well done. That has to be... I haven't heard that many horns in a game in a long time.
So you know that these horn parts are only in this version of the game, right?
What do you mean, only Switch version?
Yes. The Switch version is an updated version. This game has already been released.
Yeah, I know it's been released, and I've been waiting.
The Switch version, the Switch version is the only version where you could play in either 3D or 2D mode.
Yes.
And
can't
it's
do that
the
on the
only
demo.
version that has the orchestral arrangement. Because the original soundtrack was all synthesized. You could actually look at the in the options menu and change it from symphonic to synthesized.
Yeah, I was playing around with that.
Not on the demo. You can't change the synthesized.
Yes.
So they actually went and re-recorded the whole soundtrack with the Tokyo Metro Orchestra.
Yeah, it says it at the bottom right occasionally.
Yeah, so the big Tokyo Orchestra, and it sounds really awesome. But I want to hear the synthesized version.
Yeah, I do. I would probably want to play it in the 2D version, which is a really cool concept that you can go back and you can play a 2D version. And I think it makes a lot of sense for the Switch, because if you're playing handheld, I think that'd be an easier game to deal with. Fire Emblem is actually a really easy game to deal with in handheld, because you're not dealing with a lot of movement.
Oh, yeah.
When you're dealing with 3D movement around the main playing field handheld, I mean, it would just be way easier to have a top-down view. I don't know how often I'll play in that, but it's cool that they're even doing that. Now, I was playing around with the idea of not getting it on the Switch and to play it on PC just so I'd have a better looking version. But honestly, after seeing the demo,
you don't.
The demo looks great.
You don't get all the extras.
Yeah, and then I need those extras. Like I really need them.
Yeah, all the extras.
I need
extras
that music, man. I need the horns just like blaring at your ears, like as a ska fan, you know.
It was super funny because when I first heard the battle theme, like it's very horn driven and stuff, but the percussion lines sounded like some old school Motown stuff. So that was really funny to me.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like it's almost out of place, but it kind of works with some of the music.
No, it totally works.
And the battle music I know is going to drive me crazy eventually because it's
already driven me crazy.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it at first, but then it's like, oh, it's going to do that
because the initial
wah, wah.
The initial horn medley or melody, it reminds me of another song, and then it changes right after that, so it's not that song.
Yeah. So graphically, though, like compared to Fire Emblem, they're using kind of a similar style where they have that cel shaded style.
Anime. A similar anime style.
They're
Travis?
using a similar anime style.
Art from Japan.
You know, we're gonna have somebody that's gonna be like, I stopped listening because he said there was an anime style.
It's
not
like anime. It's manga.
It's mangas, or it's this anyway. So, but I find that they're doing a lot more with a similar style than they do with Fire Emblem. Like, I really wish they could take the Fire Emblem world, because honestly, the worlds where you're at and you're fighting in Fire Emblem are kind of boring. Like, graphically, they're kind of hard to see. They're not real crisp, whereas this world looks a lot better. And they're very similar.
Yeah.
Granted, I do enjoy the range of character designs that are in Fire Emblem. I think it makes more sense with the series. This one has a range, but I believe it's the same dude that did Dragon Ball Z, right?
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean,
I only ever pay attention
okay,
to music and stuff like that.
Take a look at Dragon Quest games, and it's usually the same guy, but it's like he uses the same type of eyes for the characters, and it's very much like a build your own character creator, the way that this artist works. Drives me a little bit crazy, but this game, it's kind of well done.
I think the best way I could describe the differences between Fire Emblem and Dragon Quest is Fire Emblem is more like chess.
Yeah.
And Dragon Quest is more like your standard RPG
world
type
it's
stuff.
Old school.
Like Fire Emblem, there's only one like hub type area, and that's the school.
And I appreciate the fact that they don't have some weird auto battle system junk. Like, I get tired of that in some of these games. Sometimes I just want like a turn-based fighter. It makes me happy.
You can auto battle in Dragon Quest. I accidentally turned that on and was wondering why
I'd
it
get
was doing
bored.
that.
I guess if you're like eating lunch or something.
He was automatically striking. I'm like, why don't I get to pick anymore? What happened?
So what are you using? Are you using a sword and shield, or are you using...
I'm using a sword and a
bucket
pot lid.
I'm going double.
The great sword?
Great sword.
Yeah. I actually just found out that I had a great sword.
Yeah, I mean, it's much better than a mediocre sword or a subpar sword. So, great sword is the best one.
Didn't even know I had it till I was leaving my hometown.
So, we did have a question from somebody on Twitter, from It's a Bug Human. Should more games use demos like this that are like this giant long demo? What do you think?
I think it depends on the type of game. Because there are a lot of games that if it's a short game, like one of your 8, 10, 12 hour type games, if you put out a demo that's an hour long, you're going to ruin a lot of the game. But something big and long like your Fire Emblems, your Dragon Quest, your things like that, I think it's cool to get people used to what type of game it's going to be, get used to the lore. But me personally, I'm not going to play much more of the Dragon Quest demo.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time trying to figure it out because I'm thinking, man, I got like over a month.
Well, yeah, no, I'm going to play the hell out of the game.
I'm going to invest this time, and then I'm just not going to play it for a month.
Yeah.
And
I don't want to
RPGs, like, it's really hard for me to pick back up. Like, I generally want to blaze through one and not have to stop. So I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm trying to figure out, should I play it anymore? Which I know I shouldn't because I need to play Fire Emblem.
I mean, it all depends on the game. And I've actually seen games in the past where, like, I think Resident Evil 7 did this, where the demo for the game was not even a part of the actual game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it had a lot of the gameplay, a lot of the scenery, but the characters that you played as and the storyline in it, it's not in the actual game. So that was kind of cool for that, because it was probably an hour and a half demo for RE7, but it didn't ruin any of the gameplay for you.
Right. And this one I really think is more of a thing of trying to buy your interest and bring you into the world so you really want to finish it.
Oh, you could get 10 hours into this demo and then buy the digital version of the game and then continue.
Yeah. So, do you have to do it digital only? I didn't think about that.
Because
I'll look that up. I mean, I wouldn't think you would, huh?
Well, because I did, when I bought Octopath Traveler, I bought it digitally just because I played the demo and could pick up from there. And I didn't know if I could do that physically because I didn't plan on playing that much of it, and then I did a whole lot of it. So
one place that I don't think they should release demos for are short action games.
Oh, definitely.
Because although, granted, there was a demo for Ape Out that I tried the other day. That was really fun. It's like and my wife liked the music in it. It was this sort of jazz-infused drums going on, and every time you hit, the cymbals would hit or something like that.
Yeah.
Or whatever bouncy hitty things you talk about in drum sets.
They're called stabs.
Sure. Okay. That sounds violent.
Just anytime you hear music, you hear just a real quick, like either a quick drum hit or a quick guitar lick or horn thing. It's called a stab because it's real quick, like a stab.
That was educational. But it's really cool. The art style is really nice as far as, like, it's very simplified. It's focused on silhouettes, more so like the contours of the characters rather than showing any real detail.
Oh, and the line of sight too.
Yeah. It's a pretty cool game. I'll probably try it out. Honestly, I probably wasn't going to buy it, but you know what it's coming out on?
What is it coming out on?
Game Pass.
Dude, seriously?
Yeah, it's out on Game Pass, or it's going to be soon.
I'm going to take that off my wish list on Switch then.
Yeah, I know, man. It's like, man, so I was reading something the other day that I'm probably going to leave till we get to that section now that I'm thinking about it. So, mental note, need to talk about what a indie developer said about Game Pass.
Oh, man, I just remembered I had a mental note from the last one that I know,
we do this all the time, so I'm going to have to type it. Anyway, we need to get to the next game.
I don't even know what my last mental note was. Never mind.
We need to figure this out. All right.
Getting old.
Yeah. Okay, the coffee was weak today, guys. I'm sorry. Hey, guess what I'm excited about?
Let me guess. Is it Diablo?
Diablo. New season of Leapfrog. Triune.
What's a Leapfrog?
Okay, so the way that the season works is that every time you hit something, pow, you have a chance to make a circle of power.
What does that have to do with frogs?
This could be... Because you've got... Okay, so let me explain the circles, and then we'll talk about frogs.
I hate frogs.
All right, so whenever you hit bad guy, it could turn into a triune of love. Oh, yeah.
Sounds sexy.
Players in a circle receive 100% damage bonus while active. That makes no sense.
No.
Oh, yeah. Next one is a triune of determination. That deals with resource reduction. They receive a 50% discount on resources spent while active. It's like a Kmart blue light sale, right?
Not as sexy.
Ding. Not as sexy. And the last one is the triune of creation.
Creation happens after sexy time.
Okay. Cooldown reduction. While standing in an active circle, any skills currently on cooldown come off of cooldown more quickly. So, why I say it's the season of Leapfrog is because what's going to happen is you're going to have an archer, or you're going to have somebody that's doing ranged weapons, and what's going to happen will be whenever you hit that person, it will make a circle of power away from you. So everybody's going to have to run over and hop onto the circle, and they're going to fight it out until the next circle pops up. So it's going to be a really weird season because all these buffs are going to start happening, and depending on your character, depending on the color of the circle, you'll be running to certain circles more often. So it's going to be like, frogs on a lily pad from hell.
What I just got from that is there's going to be buff frogs.
Buff frogs. Frog buffs. Sounds like the worst cereal. All right. That was a really long section on us talking about the games we played recently for only playing
3 games.
3 games. So let's...
One's a demo.
Yeah. All right. So, next up is news and views. So, you were telling me something about news the other day about ducks.
Okay, look, I'm super disappointed about this. The DuckTales game was absolutely amazing on the NES. Like, I played the heck out of that game. And the soundtrack was amazing. That's what got me into making synthesized music, got me real into computerized type stuff, electronic music and stuff. Just because of the way it was set up. Like, you had to take these composers, and then they had to take everything they've written and then put it on computers. Not an easy thing to do. So the game really stuck out to me. Well, years ago, they did the HD remake. And still, just as good of a game, music, remastered, still good as hell. But Capcom did not renew the copyrights for it. So this, it kind of sucks, because, I mean, the game's been out for a while. So if you haven't gotten it yet, you probably weren't going to. But it's the fact that now you can't. I mean, I could download it from Steam or anything like that because I've already got the digital version. And if you have the digital version, you can still download it unless Steam goes out of business. So, but then this brings up, you know, backing up games for the future. Like, when we're going into this all digital age. God, I don't think we plan on talking about this. But
we can.
We're going to this basically all digital age, and we're not backing up our games on physical copies.
Yeah, and you know, I am running into that problem too whenever I look at like some of my old games, like on the 3DS and stuff that I did digital, because there was a whole bunch of stuff on their digital storefront that you'd get. Mm-hmm. You could never get physical.
Oh yeah.
So as soon as my 3DS dies, which may never happen because those things, I mean, I literally had a DS survive a snowstorm.
Yeah.
In Texas, which doesn't happen very often.
A snowstorm in Texas isn't all that bad.
Yeah, but it was like we had snow on the ground and it stayed for 2 days.
3 inches of snow and it stays for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I made a snowman one time and it lasted a whole day.
That's impressive too. We did snowmen and we painted them. We did Jackson Pollock snowmen. We just sprayed them with all sorts of paint.
We didn't.
Anytime it snows out here in the armpit of Texas, that's what we do for our project. I don't care what's going on.
It doesn't snow very thick, so you only get like 2-3 inches of snow. So then when you roll up your snowman, it's all covered in mud.
Yeah, snow out here is not very good. I mean,
awful.
Yeah.
Side note.
We went on a side quest.
But yeah, no. So basically, the whole DuckTales remastered, Capcom not renewing the copyrights, it just bums me out, man. We can see this happening a lot in the future.
Yeah, and it's really weird that they didn't renew the copyrights. Like
Disney.
Man, Disney is all up in everybody's business lately. I mean, you had the same issue. Were they asking for too much money?
I'm sure that's what it was.
Because you saw the same thing with Sony and Disney, where Disney's want more money. And honestly, Disney's not going through a good time right now. Some of the recent films they've released have just bombed. For as much money they put in, honestly. They've done fairly well, but they put in so much money into these Star Wars movies.
The Lion King was huge, man. Like, you should look on the sales charts for that.
It's huge outside the U.S. mostly.
Well, that's all that matters these days.
In China, it's massive.
I mean, what is it? The Venom movie, like, made nothing in the U.S., but made almost $1 billion in China. Yeah. That's why it's getting a sequel, and it doesn't need one. It's awful. It's a turd of a movie.
Rowdy's review scores. Turd or not turd. All right, so next thing that we're going to talk about is there is classic World of Warcraft, also known as WoW, is coming soon.
So I just want you to realize that there are people who play World of Warcraft that weren't alive when it first came out.
I can see that.
So classic World of Warcraft is something new to them.
So I was talking to a friend of mine, a gunslingerer.
That's a tough name.
It's an awesome name. So I was asking him, why do people want to go play an old game? And I still haven't bugged him. I need to text him after the show and be like, hey, you want to do a side quest with me and talk about WoW? Not in that voice though, because that'd be really weird. But because I never played the game. I wasn't really into MMOs. But he was telling me that the core of the game has changed so much since they've done all these add-ons and they've done balancing.
There's pandas in it.
And there's pandas, murder pandas. And what happens is a lot of times this, what is that, Blizzard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of balancing, they just add more, world-destroying weaponry or spells and things like that.
Which is cool if you've been playing the game since the beginning, but not if you want to get into it.
So I was looking up on there, and I'm a little worried. I can't even play the game on my PC. It requires an R9 280 as a minimum.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I think I have an RX 270.
Yeah, well, I was looking at the not only that, because the NVIDIA card, there we go.
Yeah.
The NVIDIA card they recommended was a GTX 960, 4 gigabyte. And my computer, I run a GTX 980 Ti 8 gigabyte.
We looked at the wrong section.
No. The recommended section is what you need to look at.
Yeah, well, that's true, because minimum requirements, I mean, you can run it on a potato, but it's going to look terrible.
But the crazy thing is the storage. Mm-hmm. So minimum requirements is 5 gigabytes of storage. Minimum, okay? Recommended specifications is 70 gigabyte solid state.
That's a pretty fun one. That's just because you want super fast loading times, but also
that's a huge difference.
It'll probably offset some of the CPU.
Like, normally minimum requirements to recommended specifications is not that big of a jump.
So, fun thing, input, they have input minimum and recommended minimum input. Keyboard and mouse are required. But then recommended multi-button mouse with scroll wheel.
Well, yeah, because the scroll wheels click,
that's intense.
And they have...
Yeah.
Dude, I've actually seen...
I got one.
I want to say it was a 25-button mouse.
That's too much.
So
that's called a keyboard that moves.
It had 3 click buttons.
Uh-huh.
It had a scroll wheel, and then it had a whole bunch of buttons on the side you control with your thumb. 25, that's an exaggeration. But it had a lot of buttons on it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So it looks like, to be able to run, they upgraded how the game looks. So
it's not classic.
It looks clean. It's decent. It's definitely not actually the classic. But question out to listeners, would y'all watch a noob series of our streams if we do a side quest? So I'm kind of playing around with that. I might get it, but the problem is I don't want to pay for a monthly subscription.
Yeah.
Because they have way too many games coming out right now.
So many.
It's that time of year.
Yeah, but it's all on Switch right now, just because everything else is at the end of their life.
Yeah.
God, that sounds horrible. It's like they're on hospice. No, but so
keep the Switch comfortable.
A lot of Switch stuff is coming out, but because I've probably got 40 more hours left in Fire Emblem, and then just at the end of this month, beginning of next month, there's 2 games that I have to play, and then the end of next month is Dragon Quest, which is going to be probably 60-plus hour game.
So I guess we should go ahead and start talking about Gamescom, since we're talking about games coming up. So they announced a whole bunch of games. Now, I really only have dates for the Switch ones, but the Nintendo Switch they're just kind of lining up everything and just throwing stuff at our wallets, and our poor wallets are hemorrhaging and they're bleeding and they're shaking on the floor.
I've shown you my Amazon pre-order.
I've seen that thing. Just scroll for days.
It was. I did screenshots on my phone and it took 3 pictures.
We need to just take that and scroll and see how long it takes. Okay, so here's some upcoming games that are coming to the Nintendo Switch. Astral Chain.
Dude, I'm so excited about this game.
Rowdy's excited about this game.
It's a new IP. It looks awesome. I get totally excited about new IPs just because I played so many sequels.
I'm on the fence about this game. The problem is that Famitsu gave it a 37 out of 40.
I don't care.
Why do they have to make these games so good that just I have too much to play?
It's going to be awesome. Oh, 37 out of 40. I thought you meant 37 out of 100. Never mind. No, it's going to be awesome, man.
No, it was 37 out of 100. That'd be terrible.
Did you play as anime spirit cops?
I still think it looks like they're... You know what my thoughts are. It's ice climbers, a Xenoblade, and Raccoon City
anything that
armor.
halfway resembles a K-pop boy band, you're out.
Pretty much. At this point, I'm so over K-pop, it's not
Final
even
Fantasy
funny.
15 was such a great game, but Travis won't play it because they look like a boy band.
So, random side quest thought. So, I have a class, like, playlist, right? And I'm to the point to where, like, I've added all this music for these students, and they can spend, we have positive points in our school, and they can spend for a jukebox token, so they get to choose songs off the playlist to play next. I've gotten to the point to where I'm going to make a new email address just so this does not infect my Spotify suggestions anymore.
Nice.
Because I can't tell you how many times, like, it's like, you should listen to this K-pop or this SoundCloud rapper. No. That stuff's like waterboarding for my ears. You know?
Do you get to listen to Baby Shark all the time?
No, that would be like the little kids. Although I had a class where I had these little kids in there, and yesterday we were listening to Nintendo music all day. I found a playlist that was like the official playlist of Nintendo.
Found the DuckTales one the other day on Spotify.
Nice. I'll try that one. Those are fun. I had teachers pop their heads in, and they're like, "Yeah, I remember listening to that when I was a kid." So, all right. Anyway, Astral Chain is coming out August 30th.
It's going to be awesome.
I'm honestly, though, more excited for the next game, Daemon X Machina.
Dude, super excited for it. Well, super excited for it as well. Sorry, I'm speaking
like
too
with
fast.
the big X in between?
Oh, yeah.
Excited. Yeah.
Again, another new IP.
Yep.
It looks awesome.
And it's, you're basically a flying mech of doom.
Oh, man.
And the art style is really nice. And they've actually improved the frames per second since the demo.
The demo was awesome. I totally forgot that Link's Awakening is coming out before Dragon Quest.
Yep. How are we going to play all this, Rowdy?
Dude,
Link's Awakening is September 20th.
Yeah, I'll probably knock that game out in like 6-7 hours.
That is true. I am gonna get it, but I really only like to get one big game a month.
That's dumb.
Yeah. But I don't want to be broke.
True.
But so I'm having a hard time looking at this list. Like, it's so scary to me. But I am, though, priority for me is Dragon Quest. Yeah. September 27th. That Switch version is too good. The demo looks great. I have been just absolutely impressed with what they're pushing out on the Switch for this game. And we talked about it earlier. So, speaking of the next thing that's coming to the Switch is Witcher 3, the complete edition. October 15th. Are you getting it on the Switch?
Nah, I've got it on PC.
You know my thoughts about not getting it. So, I don't want this game on the Switch.
It's not something you play in public.
It is not a public game. There are way too many lady parts that would be showing in times in the game, and
breasticles.
It's not a good game for public. It's an adult game, so it's rated M. I might get it on the X one day. It's on the list, but I'm still kind of burned over Witcher 1 and 2 because I hated how it controlled.
I started playing The Witcher 3. It controls way better.
You said you were reading the books, though, right?
Yeah, I'm reading the books. They're awesome, man.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm almost done with the second book, but the first two books, they're collections of short stories based in the Witcher universe.
Okay.
And then about the third book is when they pick up like actual full story-length books.
So have you read the other? What's that other big series that everybody watched in the last season was terrible and we all hated it? Game of Thrones, the dragons. You read any of those?
Nah.
Okay. I'll have to read I'll have to read one of the Witcher ones after I play the game sometime in the future to compare it, because I'm a big nerd about reading like these fantasy books.
Nerd.
Although I've been on a big like cyberpunk one. I finished Hardwired, and now I'm reading Technomancer. So it's been my thing lately.
Wasn't Technomancer a game?
Yeah, I might be thinking of the wrong name. Neuromancer, that's what it is.
Oh, yeah.
Neuromancer.
That's an old school one.
Yeah, I mean, that and Hardwired. I think Hardwired was like a year or two before. They're very similar. Like, it's interesting. Okay, so after that, October 30th. Oh, Halloween.
That makes sense.
Yeah, Luigi's Mansion 3.
You get to play as Gooigi.
I'm so getting that.
Oh, yeah.
Luigi's Mansion is going to happen because I didn't get it on the GameCube.
No, you did get it on the GameCube.
No, I really didn't.
Yeah, because...
I got Tony Hawk.
No, because the first game I played on GameCube was you bought Luigi's Mansion and we beat it in one night.
You might be thinking about somebody else.
No, we went to your sister's house because she had the big stereo system that we could plug it up to.
Oh, yeah.
And then we beat Luigi's Mansion in one night. We caught all those ghosts. Everybody just kept passing it back and forth. And we were drinking Mountain Dew and staying up all night. And we played the game. Because this was freshman year of high school when that came out.
Okay, maybe I just blocked that out.
Now, the 3DS Luigi's Mansion was a turd.
So, randomness. You see those speakers over there in my living room?
Yes.
Those are from that stereo system.
Oh my god.
I need to replace those back speakers really bad.
Dude, that's like over 20 years old now.
So, I've been having words with my audio-visual system. It might be getting changed out in the near future. It has... So... I have this really good sound system. It sounds great, but it's just falling behind in the 4K age. You know, it doesn't move forward any of the video signal on anything but the Switch. And it doesn't work well with ARC, so I have to plug it into the surround sound system, whereas everything else is plugged into the TV and then it ARCs to it. So, anyway, randomness. Next one is a game I'm not buying. Mario and Sonic Olympic Games, Tokyo 2020.
Okay, so these actually, the Mario Sonic games, they're...
Lame?
For what they are, they're okay as a party game.
Yeah.
I don't play a lot of games with a lot of people anymore these days because I'm old. So I won't be getting it. But it does have that cool 2D mode this time around.
Yeah, I did see that, and I was like, oh, okay, well, that's actually pretty nifty. It's a good game if you got kids that, you know, you don't want them to play murder simulators like Grand Theft Auto. So, you know, go play.
I love murder simulators.
Go play a game where you jump on things' heads and kill them too, I guess. All right, so next one is the big one this year, Pokemon Sword and Shield, November 15th. That is going to just be all up in some Christmas presents.
Okay, look, so here's the deal. I normally get both of the Pokemon games when they come out since X and Y. I played the hell out of Red and Blue when they first came out. I take it back. I played Red and Yellow. But I didn't play much after that when they went to like Gold and Silver, and I was just kind of here and there, didn't really play too much. They looped me back in at Pokemon X and Y, and I actually played both of those all the way through, which, I mean, as everybody knows, it's pretty much the same game. You can just unlock different Pokemon in each one. But Pokemon Sword and Shield, probably not going to buy both of them. It's going to take a whole lot of time to do that.
We're going to have to talk.
Which one are you getting?
Which one are you getting?
I don't know.
Sword. I haven't thought about it. I'll Shield.
Okay.
All right.
Because it's that easy
our
now.
Our Pokemon games combined.
It's that easy now to collect the other Pokemon because you could just send them over the internet now.
And honestly, like I have definitely gotten away from Pokemon. I did not enjoy the Eevee one as much as I should have.
Oh, dude, I enjoyed the hell out of it.
See, I got burned out by it. It just was too simple for me. But
it was a remake of Pokemon Yellow.
The catching was what.
Well, yeah, no. They bummed out a whole lot of people because it wasn't technically a mainline Pokemon game.
Yeah. And
it was a remake of Yellow, which had already been remade as, I don't know, some other one. So it was like the second time it had been remade. It was just real fun that to play all the nostalgia and the fact that it was real quick.
So the biggest controversy I've seen, though, about Pokemon Sword and Shield is the fact that they are not going to have 4 billion Pokemon in this one. They are only relegating it to newer Pokemon and then certain ones. They're going to leave some out that aren't that are in the other games.
So you know why that's a big deal, right?
Why?
Because what is the main catchphrase for Pokemon? Gotta catch them all. Guess what you can't do in this game?
Not catch them all.
Exactly.
But what do you think if Nintendo gets evil and they release them as DLC?
They won't do that.
watch it.
Because there's too many. There's over 800.
There's money.
There's over 800 Pokemon.
But wouldn't it make sense to, as an expansion, release another island somewhere that you could go to, and they'd have new Pokemons?
No, because the people that really care that much about collecting them all have already done that. So,
yeah.
And now Nintendo's made it very easy to switch or to transfer your Pokemon over to new systems.
Gotcha.
So, like, I could transfer mine from Pokemon Go into Pokemon Let's Go, from Pokemon Let's Go
that's right.
to Pokemon Sword and Shield, or even as far back as some of the DS games, you could transfer them to Pokemon Bank. And then transfer them over. So even though you can't catch them all, the people that really want to catch them all have already caught them all. And will just catch all the new ones in this one. So they'll still have them all.
I am looking forward, though, to this being the popular game this year. Because with kids that draw things in class, if they have extra time, I can literally just bring out like some printed out Pokemon. And they go nuts over it. And, you can teach them different things with how they design them. But when they're through with their work and you don't want them to run around in circles or chew on something, you have them do free draw, and it's great. I wish I was joking, but I've had kindergartners chew on things. So anyway, but I love my kindergartners. They're awesome. Next one is, I guess, the last Nintendo announcement that was really weird. Bubble Bobble 4.
I'm out.
Friends! It has the word friends in the title.
I'm out.
But friends.
I'm out. I don't have any friends.
Okay, well, if you get some friends, it's 4 players that can play simultaneously. I did not see if it was online. That would be cool. They updated the graphics, of course. To me, it's a little weird because Bubble Bobble has always been a vertically oriented game. Like, it's up and down. You drop down and you go spit bubbles at things, and you break their insides, and they just shatter everywhere because they're vicious little demon monsters. But they're cute. But they've updated it. It's definitely a retro format, but it's wide. Like, the levels are wide now. The thing that's bothering me, though, is the aesthetic. Reminds me of the latest Harvest Moon game.
Okay.
And that game was really boring. I mean, it wasn't even exciting enough to be a dumpster pile. It was more like a lukewarm manure pile, I guess. It just wasn't that good. I wasn't, I would have some at least be slightly entertained if the dumpster was on fire.
Harvest Moon has gotten real weird over the past decade or so because the company that originally created Harvest Moon doesn't really have the creative copyrights or whatever for it now.
Desire.
So you're going to see a lot of, what do they call them? Story of Seasons games. Mm-hmm. Those are the same thing as Harvest Moon. So there's a whole lot of different creative backgrounds coming from the game. They take it in a lot of directions. I don't know. That game is just, Yeah. It's just gotten weird. Play Harvest Moon 64 and then never play another Harvest Moon game ever again.
Sure.
That was the best one.
That is true. I spent a lot of time in junior high playing Harvest Moon 64. All right. Next up is the Xbox and PC news. So, Final Fantasy VIII Remastered is coming to the Xbox.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Final Fantasy VII.
Sorry, Rowdy.
My bad.
There's an extra I.
Yeah.
So, it'd be cool. You never know, though, because right now Xbox is getting some weird, special games sent to them, even though their console is by far last.
They're like, please, may I have something?
But earlier I made a mental note, and we're going to go back to this mental note. Right now. Okay, so the thing is, Xbox is doing really well with indie games on Game Pass, to where, I wish I had the story pulled up, but there was a recent developer that said that their game was put on Game Pass, and it caused their sales to increase a ridiculous amount of the game because people would play it on Game Pass, then they'd go buy it because they liked it so much.
Makes sense.
And of course, Xbox, funnels some money over to you to even get that exclusivity on Game Pass too. So they're spending some money, but I really think it's the only thing that's kind of keeping the system alive at this point.
They're not even releasing
and keeping people interested. Really,
they're not releasing sales numbers anymore for the Xbox, but they are releasing their concurrent users, which actually looks a lot better these days. Seeing as your concurrent users is how many people every month are playing it, rather than how much you sold. So if you've sold, 100 million consoles, but only 20 million of them are still being played,
yeah,
it's not good.
And you got to think about the Wii. How many Wiis are still out there in the world?
Dude, you could buy them $5 for $1.
Yeah, I mean,
at secondhand shops.
I got them from in a grab bag, remember, and for $30. I mean, there are millions, tens of millions, probably hundreds of millions, right?
It sold close to 100 million.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. So, it just matters. You can have a ton of them, but if they're not being played, it doesn't really matter. And they're keeping everybody in the game by keeping games that people want to play. But there have been some really good stuff on Game Pass lately. One that I would suggest that everybody go out and play is Jackbox Party Pack 2. If you've never played one of these games, get your cell phone out, charge it beforehand, and go play it. Any of the Jackbox games are really fun, and it's free. Do it. Big one that just hit recently was Slay the Spire, which is a card-based roguelike.
Okay. Sounds weird.
It's fun. I was never a big fan. My brother, though, was all about this game. Next up, Age of Empires Definitive Edition is coming for PC. Yeah. I mean, I like Age of Empires, don't get me wrong. But I played this enough. I want them to make a new game. But it is going to come back. It's going to come for Game Pass on the Xbox and the PC. Now, the big one that I told you about, and you're like, you have to play it now.
Devil May Cry 5.
Devil May Cry 5. DMC 5.
No. You can't call it DMC.
Okay.
Because
I wrote it down that way.
After Devil May Cry 4, they released DMC, Devil May Cry.
I'm so confused.
Capcom
makes this game, doesn't it?
Okay, so DMC, Devil May Cry, was given to Ninja Theory. Capcom loaned it out, and Ninja Theory just took a dump on it.
Okay, but that's why it's so confusing with the numbers.
Now that's why everybody freaks out. No, you have to call it Devil May Cry 5. So it's not confused with DMC.
So also they have Stellaris, which is a real-time real-time strategy. August 22nd, though, Ape Out. Oh, wait, August 22nd's already passed. We're in the future. Ape Out came out. We were just talking about that earlier for the Switch. And the one that I'm going to get is Kingdom Come Deliverance. I've heard a lot of good stuff about it.
Wanna be Skyrim?
Oh, man, Bard's Tale 4 hits August 27th. When am I going to play these games?
Dude, I was playing the trilogy the other day. It's awful.
Dude, you're wrong.
It's all text-based, like the old D&D games from the 80s.
That's what it is. That's literally what it is. It's just slightly remastered. This one's not going to be that way exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And then a game I really have no interest in whatsoever is Blair Witch.
That one's actually coming out they just announced that game.
Yeah, it's already coming out on the 30th. That's wild.
Dude, I totally think that was a game that was being developed as something else. Mm-hmm. And then they were like, how could we sell more? What kind of horror franchises can we rip off? They got the rights for Blair Witch, so now it's going to sell.
Yep, part of the Microsoft acquisition. And of course, Sony's doing acquisitions now, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
So, there has been something said the other day that Microsoft wants to put Game Pass on all platforms. Do you think that's...
No.
So...
I think that was something. I think that was something taken out of context.
Yeah, and I think what they were trying to say was they want xCloud on all platforms, and then you can get Game Pass through xCloud.
Well, there was also that rumor here a while back that they were going to bring was it something that had to do with Xbox to the Switch? But I think that was just to just your account or whatever, so you could check stats and stuff like that and make it easier to transfer everything from Minecraft.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't see that being a big thing, because what's the point in having an Xbox if you can get Game Pass on everything?
Right. And, the things that I was thinking, why would they want to do that? So, right now, Microsoft's talking about pushing games like Outer Worlds, Ori, to all these other platforms right now, or using older versions of their games to all the platforms, so they can put the new ones as exclusives only for their new console that's going to be coming out next year.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's kind of the game they're playing right now, is they're trying to get a lot of people involved from all these other places. I mean, kind of like what we do when we comment on other people's Twitter pages, maybe.
Well, it's kind of like how, Xbox or Microsoft bought all of these companies, but they've gone on record saying that these companies don't necessarily have to only develop for Xbox. So, like, I got a little upset because they acquired Double Fine. I really like some of the Double Fine games and was a little upset that I wouldn't be able to play it elsewhere, but Double Fine will still be able to release games for other consoles.
So, crazy thought.
What's that?
Okay. I think if the Google Stadia stuff happens, and we're going to talk about Stadia and fake news in a little bit. Oh, no, we were talking about it now. We're going to talk about it in a minute. I forgot. That's not in this fake news section, is it? But I think what's going to happen is that, you've noticed that Microsoft's been super buddy-buddy with Nintendo lately.
Yeah.
So if Stadia were to become a thing, I don't think Microsoft has the international power to run xCloud. They have the infrastructure.
Yeah.
But it would make no sense to waste that infrastructure all over the world. So I think they would tap into a system like the Switch, which is mobile forward thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been super buddy-buddy with each other. I think maybe we could see the xCloud on the Switch in the future, but I think we're going to have to see Stadia really become a contender before they would drop that hammer.
Sony and Microsoft have been playing buddy-buddy with hardware.
Yes.
Because of the whole Google thing.
Everybody's scared.
They've signed an agreement where Sony has access to Azure, and Microsoft now has access to Sony's, I guess, their hardware? Like
hardware secrets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that they could globally, they're thinking globally, like Biodome.
And you know what's weird though right now is Sony is, if you look at all these companies as far as what they do, I think Sony though as an overall company is one of the worst places, because right now Sony's main seller is the PlayStation.
Well, I mean, it's only the highest selling home console ever.
True. But you look at their hardware background. They used to be all into TVs. They used to be, remember the Walkman? They used to be more into stereo based. They used to have a much larger footprint. They tried to get into cell phones. That failed drastically and miserably. So this is really the only thing they still have going for them, other than unless there's some sort of hardware secrets that they have on. But even then, like, I've used Sony branded laptops. They're really not that good. So I'm curious, if Sony tanked in the future, would we see them get out of gaming? It's a possibility. It might be a discussion in the future.
You shut your mouth. I love Sony.
Because, I mean, Nintendo has far more IP that they could always go into. The Mario IP itself is Disney level.
Yeah.
And it actually does better than a lot of Disney nowadays. So I would say so. It's more recognizable.
It is recognizable.
I mean, if you're looking at Disney's IP dealing with kids. We're gonna have to come back and talk about that. In the future.
I hate Disney, but
I'm letting my Nintendo fanboy show.
They really are the biggest company on the face of this earth.
But they are having a hard time right now.
No, I mean Disney.
They're looking for some money.
Disney Plus. What? They just spent how many billion?
I know they're making stupid decisions right now.
They make. Every time they put out an MCU movie, it makes over $1 billion. They're not hurting for money. They are not. Lion King got over $1 billion worldwide. I mean, they are not hurting. I mean, not a fan of them, but they're not hurting. I mean, Nintendo also not hurting. I'm not saying anything bad about Nintendo. Yeah. But I don't think Sony will tank just because they have such a market elsewhere. Like, they could dump so much money into PlayStation and still not go in the black. Wait, is it red or black?
Red.
Red. Okay, it's still not going to red. Kind of like how Nintendo did a couple years ago when the Wii U was out. They could still throw so much money at it and still had 5 years before they went into the red.
Yeah, but they're way more conservative with the way they run their business.
Who is?
Nintendo.
Oh,
they put a lot of... Now, they have, though, in the Switch era, they've also changed a lot of stuff where they put in a lot of money into investment into some of their development buildings. So, who knows? We'll have to do some research and come back to that as like a closer topic one day, because I think I kind of want to look into it and see if I'm full of it or not.
There's also a new Sony video game movie division, which the first movie that they're putting out is the Uncharted movie, with Tom Holland, the kid that plays Spider-Man, as Nathan Drake. Which is really weird, because the kid looks... I mean, he's in his mid-20s, but he looks super young.
Yeah.
Whereas Nathan Drake needs to be played by Nathan Fillion.
Dude, that'd be cool. I'd watch that.
Have you seen the fan-made Nathan Fillion Uncharted short?
I have not.
It's amazing. You need to watch that after this. It's awesome.
All right, well, speaking of PlayStation, this is kind of PlayStation news. Most of this is going to be multi-console, but
it was announced, or at Gamescom, it had the Sony logos on them. It's not necessarily Sony exclusive, but
yeah. So there's some new info about Death Stranding. We'll talk more in just a minute regarding Sony and their new thoughts on it. But there's been a lot of people that are saying, like, oh, it's the most intriguing game right now. But then I keep seeing articles where they're like, oh, it's a walking simulator.
Oh, it's back and forth.
Yeah. So
I'm super excited about it.
So other news that's coming out is Mortal Kombat 11 released some new... they said all their DLC that's left over, it's going to be Shang Tsung, Nightwolf, Terminator.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be voiced by Arnold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sindel? I don't know who Sindel is.
She was a character that got big in Mortal Kombat 3.
Was she the one with the huge hair?
The white hair. Screamed a lot.
Yeah. The Joker and Lame. I don't really care for the character design. And Spawn, which... any sort of like...
It's cool.
Yeah, I guess. I was never really into Spawn. Next thing is Ghost Runner is... an interesting looking game.
Not excited one bit about this game.
Yeah, the way I'm seeing everybody tweak the words for it, they keep, saying it's cyberpunk style. Honestly, it's going to play nothing like Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
It's a runner in 3D.
It looks like Mirror's Edge, but you're a super violent cyber ninja.
Pretty much, yeah.
You run on walls, you jump and stab people in the neck from way up in the air. Not excited about it.
Yeah. One game that does look interesting is Biomutant. They're selling it as a Monster Hunter style game, but you're a genetically altered cute little trash panda from hell sort of style.
Dude, I'm super excited about this game.
Yeah, I mean, you this little creature, and you have these genetic alterations that go through it. It looks good. The play style looks good, and I'm sure it'll be fun. The world's really pretty.
I don't know who's making it, but it reminds me a lot of Devil May Cry. Like I know everybody's comparing it to Monster Hunter, but it just looks more like a beat 'em up, like Devil May Cry. Love it.
And the one that's actually pretty cool looking, they released a really bad demo of it, or not a demo. I'm sorry, announcement trailer where it's just like this guy that's like, I like this airship,
this motorbike, this flying motorbike.
Yeah. But no, it's Disintegration, and it's a blend of a first-person shooter and a real-time strategy. So you're kind of like flying in the air in this mech, and I'm seeing everybody like on the YouTube comments like, "Oh, it's just Titanfall." Which
I can see that.
Still, I think it looks to me more like it's really in a real-time strategy because you place where you want the units to go. There's different squads you have. They have different unique abilities. But you can also like interact by blowing things away with your own character.
It looks really cool. I'm going to need to see a lot more. I'm just seeing a lot of comparisons to Anthem and Destiny.
Yes.
And that's also the fact that, I mean, it's made by a co-creator of Halo. Is that what it says?
It's like, from a guy that used to make Halo games.
He was a janitor for Bungie.
Yeah. He cleaned the toilets.
But I really loved Destiny.
He once heard something from a guy that was totally a secret to Halo before anybody else and went on Reddit and told everyone.
I don't know. I'm going to have to see more of this game before I make up a decision.
Oh, and guess who joined the acquisition game?
Insomniac. I totally thought they were already a Sony.
Yeah, everybody was like,
thing.
oh, they weren't owned by Sony already?
But then I totally remembered that Insomniac made Sunset Overdrive, which was an Xbox One exclusive for the longest time. You could finally get it on Steam. Sunset Overdrive, also on the Xbox Game Pass. Play that game. Imagine Spider-Man meets Tony Hawk meets a third-person shooter.
Yes.
It's all of that rolled into one, and it's absolutely amazing. The soundtrack is awesome. It's amazing. But yeah, so them acquiring this Insomniac is totally awesome, but there was also an article from Sean Layden, one of the head honchos of Sony, Sony Entertainment, blah, 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 whatever it's called, that was taken out of context. He said something about their... I'm trying to remember exactly what he said, because people are going to kill me if I don't say it right. But he mentioned something about... it's what it sounded like, games coming from Sony that were going elsewhere. They're going multi-platform, which, if you read the actual Forbes article, it was taken out of context, and it was basically talking about moving games to PC and mobile, like cell phone and stuff, because Sony or Insomniac has a big history of PC and cell phone games. Don't know if you know this, they have a whole bunch of free-to-play cell phone games that were made by Insomniac. They're terrible looking, though. But they made Spider-Man, which is one of the greatest games of last year, so that's cool.
All right, well, that wraps up our
No, we didn't talk about Death Stranding.
We're going to talk about it in fake news. On our fake news section, so this is the leakathon, and everything's leaking. So first up is the PlayStation 5 design leak.
This is totally dumb, and I hate it whenever this happens. It happens at the end of a life cycle, beginning of the next one. People put out all these ridiculous mock-ups, and you see these ridiculous developer kits. But I actually did some research last night and saw a bunch of dev kits from old consoles. The dev kit for the GameCube and the Dreamcast actually look like old, really big, boxy, like Hewlett-Packard computer towers.
Yeah, it really doesn't make sense because everybody's like, oh, it could be a dev kit, but most dev kits are really bare bones. Like, they don't put any thought on the design. Now, what I have seen is that the odd shape in it, if you haven't seen it yet, we'll post it on Twitter when this releases. But it's almost looks like a VR set.
Yeah, it looks like a VR headset
from up top.
Not a VR headset. Like, it's got like where
it's like
it's in this V shape, and there's a whole bunch of heat sinks in the middle of it.
So that's, I'm guessing that's odd shape is because they're going to do a whole bunch of ventilation for this thing. It's going to heat up your house at least 10 degrees, probably. But
I've also seen another mock-up that basically made it look like a black Wii U. So this is why you could never, ever.
And a lot of times they either, they make all these design ideas, and they just kind of see which one sticks to the wall when they throw it at it. And sometimes they leak these things on purpose to see what people say. Yeah. Now, most consoles nowadays are really made to what's called melt into your cabinet, like your TV cabinet or anything where you have like other devices such as your audiovisual systems, your Blu-ray players, and things like that. The last system that really didn't was going to be like, what, the Wii?
Because it kind of stood up and was weird looking.
It was very different. And the GameCube before then was more toy-like because it was geared towards.
It had a handle; you could take it with you.
They don't want people to see these things as toys, especially if you're going to spend $700 or $800 on it, because that's probably where we're going in this next generation. At least $600. I'd have no faith in the $400 console at this point.
No.
But it's a weird design. I don't know if it's going to happen. I did hear, though, I think it was Spawn Wave was saying that Sony's not happy about it. But, you know, they could also say that just to be like, oh, we really didn't leak this. Oh, no, it's out there. Oh, man.
Well, I mean,
but, shucks, y'all saw
everything leaks. And
it's part of the game nowadays.
There was a Rockstar North leak. I forgot. We didn't add on here. It was.
Tell me about it, Rowdy. Tell me about this Rockstar leak.
I don't remember the exact name of it. It turns out it was the name of some island somewhere. And the only reason people found out about it is because it was denied classification in Australia, which Australia denies classification for everything.
I was about to say, Australia is literally an island that was where they sent all the convicts.
Yeah.
And it's full of dangerous spiders and snakes and kangaroos of pain. And they didn't allow it.
I was watching a video the other day, and somebody from Australia was saying one of the scariest things out there were ostriches.
I can see that.
Because,
you seen those things' legs?
Well, they say when
they do is leg day.
When you get close to them to like scare you, they make their heart beat really loud. So you hear this god awful thumping noise.
That is scary.
Yeah. But it turns out that this was possibly an expansion for Red Dead Redemption 2.
I can see that.
But again, why it may be fake news is because Rockstar North, I think it was, the people who took care of Red Dead Redemption 2 have taken down the big banner from Red Dead Redemption off of their building. So people are taking that as they're moving on to the next thing now.
Speaking of taking down things, this is where we're talking about Death Stranding, Rowdy.
Yeah.
Let it rip.
They took Death Stranding off of their exclusive list. So what this means is not necessarily that it's coming to Xbox One. I mean, I wouldn't say that it's never going to.
I hope it does.
But it most likely is going to be a PC release as well. Just because, Kojima Productions, they're not strictly a PlayStation or Sony company. So it could come out with more. There are rumors. I haven't been able to find it, but there was a rumor that there was a screenshot that was taken where instead of having a button prompt that was an X, a circle, a triangle, or a square, there was a B in there, which means it could either be a keyboard or an Xbox controller played through PC.
And, whenever they release those kind of gameplay videos, they don't always really check because it's usually the media person that's releasing them.
Oh, yeah.
That actually just happened to a game called Super Hot. Where they released it on the Switch and they were showing gameplay footage of the Switch and it said to press R to do something in the game. Well, you do that on a keyboard in the PC game. You don't press R to do that in the actual Switch game.
Super Hot's been on everything, dude. I can play Super Hot on my smart microwave.
Oh, yeah. Super Hot's on Game Pass. They do say, though, the best way to play Super Hot is VR.
Oh, yeah.
By far. All right, next thing up is there are a whole bunch of SKUs added to GameStop. And so there were originally, 12?
18.
18.
18 altogether.
And then there were 14 more.
No. There were
numbers.
Okay, no, there were 4. Sorry, there were 4 to begin with, then 14 more added for a total of 18.
I saw one the other day that said there were 12 they just found recently, too. So there's a whole bunch of SKUs everywhere right now.
So the original 4 SKUs are most likely your Switch Lites because they come in 3 colors and then the Pokemon exclusive version. And those 4 SKUs, I want to say, are very close in numbers. Mm-hmm. But as far as the other umpteen million SKUs, maybe weird release games that they just haven't announced.
If you don't know what a SKU is, it's basically a little thing they code in the system at GameStop or any store. I don't know what SKU technically stands for. Software
it's
knowledge unit. That makes no sense.
It's the number that goes for the UPC code or something like that. But
Silly kangaroo underwear. That's what it stands for.
Okay, yeah. I can see that.
Legit. Look it up.
I bet a kangaroo would kick your butt too. I'd be scared of those in Australia.
I wouldn't take its underwear. All right. All right. So, like Rowdy said, I think he's got a pretty good idea there. I think a lot of it is that Switch Lite release. Next up, another leak? Wow!
SNES controller patent. So, here's the deal. Nintendo is smart for patenting everything they can think of. Just because the copyright industry is really weird. if you let a copyright go for too long, somebody else could swoop in and steal parts of your patents. So, although the SNES controller patent has come out, or has been found, doesn't necessarily mean that SNES is coming to a Nintendo or Switch Online. But it could, because the rumor is that at the year mark, they're going to release SNES stuff. But who knows? The last I saw is that people were pulling apart, or was it data mining? Big word. They were data mining the Nintendo Online software and found emulators that are known for emulating Super Nintendo games. So that's why this rumor has a little more clout than the other ones.
All right, so we forgot to mention the Stadia thing.
This is so stupid.
So we're just going to end. We don't really have a closer for this show. So we're just going to end with beyond fake news. This is just dumb news.
This is okay, so I read an article called The 18 Exciting Things We Found Out About Google Stadia. You can read this article on IGN. It came out a couple of days ago. But
directly paid for from Google, I'm sure.
Oh, probably. Because I mean, it was released from Gamescom and everything like that.
Hey guys, IGN, you need some extra ads? Well, I got this article you need to run.
Man, look. So there was some cool stuff in it, and it talked a lot about the future of gaming and stuff like that. And I could see some of the stuff looks cool, but the most ridiculous thing I saw in this article is that the controller for Google Stadia was designed by a person who makes knife handles for chefs, because they say that a chef will hold a knife differently depending on what they're cutting. Therefore, a gamer will need to change the way they hold a controller depending on what type of game they're playing.
And this is ridiculous to me because Google is now saying we should be using knives.
Well, I don't know about that.
Not really. I was just joking. But
I better get a Google Stadia controller that has wooden handles and made of Damascus steel.
Yes. I've never thought about using my controller as like a knife before. Hey, I'll be right back. I'm going to take a Joy-Con. I'm going to see if I can cut some pizza. No, that's not how it works.
I'm totally going to do that.
You should try it.
I'm going to make it happen.
I bet it's gross though after a while. Like when somebody gets like, they've been eating pizza or Cheetos and their hands are greasy, and now you're just bumping this up where you're like trying to cut the pizza with the Joy-Con.
Man, I made a joke the other day on Reddit. Somebody posted a picture of their cat, and they like it was a white cat, but for some reason was turning orange, and I told them they should stop petting it after eating Cheetos.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
I like that one.
That's pretty fun.
All right, so I think that's about it for us today. Thanks for listening, guys. Make sure to check us out on the Twitter at LamerGamersCast. We're on Instagram, too, and everywhere.
Basically, if there's a social media platform out there, we're on it.
But honestly, I'd mostly work on Twitter. That's where you can find the funnies and the tweets. Also, make sure you check us out on pretty much any platform you want to listen to. We're on everything. If you can't find us, let us know. The one we are working on is iHeartRadio. I'm trying to get on there. But you can find us on iTunes. You can see some of our reviews. Some of our reviews have been entertaining so far.
Yeah.
Because we are nerds. But that's cool. Thank you, dude, that left that review. Because it was still a good review. All right, that's all I got for the day. I'm out. What about you?
That's it, man. Have a good one, guys.